Okay, now welcome again. When we talk about, you can see the topic on the board. When you talk about bearing, what comes to your mind as a student? When I hear bearing, what comes to my mind is cardinal points. I don't know for you, but me, what I see is cardinal points: your north, your east, your south, and your west. I hear comes to my mind is this, and O as origin. Always, you must always have an origin in your bearing, which is the what is always represented with O. O is always the origin. When we're talking about bearing, we just talk about movement of people, specific direction from the origin to wherever they might be likely to go to. Now, you can see in some questions in bearing, you'll be saying a man moves from a certain position to a certain position, 30 degrees north, 30 degrees east, northeast, northwest, not this one, not that one. All of them are what? Bearing. Okay. Now, in my previous class, in my previous lesson, you notice I talked about trigonometry. This can also be linked with trigonometry when we're talking of angles of elevation and depression. They are intertwined. They can mix the questions together. They can give you a bearing question, which in it you'll find a trigonometric question, which is angle of elevation and angle of depression. All those things are the same thing. Where they'll tell you a man standing on an horizontal plane steps, looks down the ground and sees a paper of the same horizontal or vertical length with the man. And in bearing are as follows. Now, you see bearing, there are two types of bearing. It's not all bearings that are the same. Number one, we have the two of them. Their questions are very different. The major difference between the surveyor method and the army method is in their questions and how their question is being aligned. Now, in the surveyor method, you'll be seeing questions like this. Surveyor method, you'll be seeing something like this. North 30 degrees east and south 30 degrees 40 degrees west. This is the typical questions you can see in surveyor method, and how you can solve this is very easy. You just need to draw your cardinal points, and thank God, as a student, you should know your cardinal points, and your cardinal points are just 4 quadrants of a circle. When you divide a circle into 4 parts, that's it. You have your M, you have your S, you have your E, and we have your W. Now, why I brought this up is very easy, so you can understand when we are talking about something. When I talk about an angle and why it is 30 and why it is 40, why it's 150 and why it's 160. Because in mathematics, we know that the sum total of the angle of the circle is 360. So every single number we are going to be doing is going to be under 360. Under 360, nothing great, nothing less. Now, look at this, north 30 degrees east. Now, in the first quadrant, this is 90, this is 90, this is 90, and this is also 90. All these angles are 90. So the first quadrant from here to here is 90. Second quadrant from here to here is 90. Third quadrant from here to here is 90. Fourth quadrant from here to here is 90. This is fourth, first, second, and this is third. You should know that each of them is 90. But from here to here is 80. I mean 180, sorry. From here to here is 180. When you join two quadrants together, 90 plus 90 is 80, 180. Then from here, 70, 270. We have 180 plus 90, which is 07, and 270. Then the fourth quadrant is complete it, 360. That is why we have something. Say north 30 degrees east. Now you need to, if it was with a ruler, you know, you divide it over. Our line is from here to here. So north 30 degree is somewhere like this. So here this part is 30 degrees because you are moving to the north. Now we say south 40 degrees west. So somewhere here we are moving to south 40 degrees west. So as you are looking at it like this, this is what this thing is. In a more proper way, let me clean this off so you can see it properly. Method, all the angles are measured from the north clockwise. When we're talking about clockwise, we mean it's moving this way. That's from this side to this side. That's from north to north. In army method, if it was in surveyor's method, it can start from the principal point, which is the principal. It can start from north or it can start from south. These are the main principal points or the major points. We have the north side and the south side. That's why I see north 60 and south. South. It can be south or north. But you can't find east, south. Okay, east 40 degrees south. You can't find something like that. Or you can't find west 40 degrees north. It must be north 40 degrees west or north 150 degrees here south or anything, but it can never, and I repeat, never be south north or west south. As simple as that. But in army method, every starting point must start from north clockwise. It must move clockwise. And what do we mean by clockwise? This is how it is. From here to here is clockwise. Clockwise, it moves clockwise. But anti-clockwise, so this is clockwise. This is anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise. So in so army method, it moves clockwise from the north. In army method, now let's move on. In the army method, now you can see the example we have on the board. The bearing of a point arrow S and T are expressed in the army method as 0, 445, 135, and 330. Now, looking at that, I told you that in bearing we have 4 quadrants. We know it as 4 quadrants where we have, this is the first quadrant, 90, 90, 90, and 90. But this, if we combine all of them, this is 90, 80, 270, 360. Now let's move on. How do we get this? When you are solving your questions, you must have to read the question and understand the question. You are seeing respectively. When you see respectively, meaning that R is the first number they gave you. R is equals to 45 degrees. And S is equals to 350 degrees, 135 degrees. And T is equals to 330 degrees. That is what respectively means. That is what respectively means. So you need to understand that this is it in respectively. This is what they mean by respectively. Anytime you see a question is that like this is what they mean by respectively. Now, how do we indicate it in bearing? All these things in bearing. You draw your straight line. We already know our cardinal points: north, east, south, and west. In the west. Now, the first one we say is R. How do we get our R? We calculate 45 degrees. We know that this is 90 in the first quadrant. And I told you in army method, all of them, their starting point must start from what? North. And move clockwise till it gets to north back. Till it gets to north. That is why we're starting from north. That is why. But in the surveyor method, it can start from south or it can start from north. That is why you have something like this. But in the army method, it must start from north and rotate clockwise till it gets back to north. That is why we are having different amounts and different range of numbers here. Now, the first one, how do we get our R? We start from here. Our R is 45 degrees. If we use our compass or if we use our protractor, we know that 45 degrees is somewhere here, half of 90. Half of 90 is 45 degrees, and this is our R. From here to here is what? 45 degrees. From here to here is 45 degrees. Now, we are having 135 degrees. Now, what is 135 degrees? Is it greater than 180? No, it is less than 180. And less than 180, let us know how many we use to get 180. This is 7, this is 10, this is 4, and this is 0. So 45 will make it close to, when you add 45 to this, it will give you 180. Now, how can we plot this, or how can we locate this number on our bearing? We just need to what? Assume this is 90. We know it's no way, we're not assuming, we know this is 90, but what is going to complete it to be what? 335. What is going to complete it to be 135? We know is what? 45. And how do we get 45? We know that from here to here is 90, and from north to south it is 180. This is angle on a straight line now. Angle on a straight line. From here to south is 180, but from north to east is 90. So we combine two quadrants together to get our 135. So when we combine two quadrants to get it, what we'll be having is something like this. From here to here, 90. Now the half of this part is 45. Somewhere here, the half of it is our S, which is what? Our 100. And so this angle that it makes, this angle you are seeing now, this angle you are seeing from here to here, from here to here is what we call our what? 135 degrees. 135. From north to S is 135. How do we get 135? We know that from here to here is 180. So 135 minus 180, or 180 minus 135, and this is what we got, 45. So we just need to what? Separate our 45 from here, and we got our S. Now this should be easy. Now since you know that the whole sum total of all the quadrants is, combine all the quadrants together, you get your 360. What you just need to do is to minus 30 from 330 from 360, and you'll be having your 30. Now this is it. Not your carry your angle. Then when it comes to this side, you know that this part is supposed to be a little bit larger, because half of it is this. So from here to here is your 330, and this side is your T. This is your T, and you are done already.
Okay, so that for that, this 135 you did, I thought it's after the 45. Like,
is it after this 45 here?
Yes, you start from there.
No, you start from north. That is why it's called the army method. It's called the army method. This army method. If you start from here now, it is wrong already. One of them must start. I told you that the starting point must be from where? North. But in the surveyor method, you can start from north and you can start from south. Anyone you choose, you prefer. You can start from south. But army method, it must be a clockwise rotation. That is from north to north. That's from north to north. You must arrive at the starting point. That is it. That's why we have 330 here, 135 here, and 45 here. As simple as that. Okay. Now let's start. When you have a question like this, what comes to your mind? Bearing. Now the bearing of a point P from another point Q is 60. What is the bearing of Q from P? Now they say bearing of a point P. You draw your cardinal points first. N, E, S, and W. When you hear this, you draw your cardinal points first. They say the bearing of a point P from another point Q is, now this is our point Q, this is our point Q, and the bearing of P from Q is 60. So from here to here, somewhere here, is 60. Then you draw it. My drawings are not straight. You draw it straight. Straight. So this is 60 degrees. This is 60 degrees. Now, as it reaches here, this is your point P, which is N, E, S, and W. Now, here, this is point P. Point P. This is Q, and this is P. Now, from Q, say the bearing of a point P from another point Q. So the bearing from here, P from Q, is 60 degrees. What is the bearing of Q? That's Q from P. So we don't know what this one is. Oh God. We don't know what this angle is. So we want to know what this one is. So how are we going to do it? Now, it is very good that you have knowledge of your angles. Especially, wait, let me check it in. I feel like this is not seeing the face again. Chasing the whole board.
Yes.
Have I passed 30 minutes? Wow. It's not past 30 minutes. Now, it is very important you know your angles very well, especially how to locate angles, because you have your corresponding angles, you have your alternate angles, you have your opposite angles. Corresponding angles are equal, alternate angles are equal, and your opposite angles are also equal. Now, when you have something like this, especially in a trapezium, you have something like this. Give me a chance, so I want to praise my God. Give me a chance. These two are corresponding angle. Corresponding and corresponding angle. And these two are alternate angle. So this is how they are. Now if you look at these two angles, here to here, from this part to this part, this part is 60, this part should be 60. So therefore, from your south to P is what? Corresponding angle. I mean alternate angle. This alternate angle. It should be alternate. Now, from S on the B side, on the P bearing is equal to P on the Q bearing. So here is 60 and here is also 60. Now, how do we get this full angle? We know that the first quadrant, this first quadrant to this quadrant is 180, then a small fraction of the third quadrant. So what we have here is bearing from P, okay, the bearing of P, the bearing of Q from P is equal to A180 first quadrant plus corresponding angle, alternate angle, sorry, plus alternate angle, which is what? 60 is equal to, so this plus this is equal to 240, 180 plus 60. So our answer here is what? 240. So therefore, Q from P is equal to 240. As simple as that. So simple.